Hello, my name is Molten Void, and I'm a big Crash fan. When the Crash 4 trailer dropped, I watched it like a dozen times, and then the gameplay trailer dropped, demo rather, dropped. I watched that a dozen times, and then I looked out for some analysis videos to see if people have noticed things that I didn't notice. And out of the ones that I saw, I didn't notice anything that I didn't already notice. And what's worse is they didn't talk about some of the things that I did notice and thought was important. So, I'm gonna do I was about to say quick. This is gonna take a little while. An analysis video on both the trailer and then the gameplay demo. So, let's get weirdly in depth with these things. Starting off with the ESRB rating. E for everyone. Not that surprising. It's Crash Bandicoot. If it had a much higher rating, that'd be weird and interesting. But like, it's Crash Bandicoot. Who's surprised at an E rating? Oh hey, look at this. Actually, we're gonna go a little bit out. Lighting is 4, but you can see Wumpa Fruit and there's boxes right there on this spooky area. This probably isn't just a cutscene part of the game. If it is a cutscene, it could just be part of the level, which I'm pretty sure it's a level because, you know, boxes, Wumpa Fruit, zoomed out. Also have this bluish glow, you've got like spirits coming out of it. Pretty interesting. And just put a pin in this bluish glow and spirits thing for a moment, and we'll come back to that a bit later. Here we have another level theme, and again, pretty sure this is a level because of crates. These looks like enemies. There's a checkpoint crate, you know, checkpoint crate confirmed. So exciting, yeah, whatever. Another level theme, pretty sure this looks like one of Cortex's castles. I don't think it's the castle from the first game. The upper areas just don't look appropriate. It could be, maybe he's got a redesign, maybe he's done some renovations, who knows? Again, we've got crates implying that this is a level. All it did was give me more. Man, we're just 9 seconds into this and we're already 2 minutes into the video. Wumpa Fruit. Great. This is, again, most likely a level. And this is a cool set piece thing. Big guy. I remember seeing a bunch of people saying, oh, is this a new character, a new boss? No. No, we see him as he is a standard enemy in the gameplay demo, but even if we didn't have that, we do see boxes behind him. The Aku Aku crate and the TNT crate being staples of the series. Implying that he's a standard enemy. This is a standard level. This is also kind of a scrapyard theme. I've seen a lot of people refer to this theme as the Rustlands theme, referring to the Rustlands from Crash Nitro Fueled, the racetrack Mega Mix Mania. I'm not sure if we can really confirm that this is just a scrapyard or Mega Mix, the Rustlands. But, so for now, I'm just going to call it the scrapyard theme. And there's something interesting. We got like standard hazard light sort of deals, but we also got this spotlight and these show lights up here. That's gonna be important a little bit later on in this video. Just put a pin in that. So that's 2 pins if I put in. There'll be more. Whoops, a little slow on the pause. But isn't it weird that Cortex's hologram technology has gotten worse since Crash 2? Like, his Crash 2 hologram had color and stuff, right? But this is all green, that's weird. Maybe he's fallen on hard times, he can't afford the deluxe edition of the hologram projector. Or it's, you know, an oversight of the developers. Who are just like, what's a cool sci-fi-ish thing for a hologram? Make it green? Whatever. We have the new design of Cortex. He looks healthier than normal. He's still yellow, but he doesn't have the, bags under his eyes, so maybe canonically he's just been getting a lot of sleep recently. Good on him. He also appears to be in a snowish area instead of where you'd kind of expect to see Cortex for the first time in a Crash game. Well, in recent Crash games. The first one you saw him first in like bonus stages or as the boss fight, depending on whether or not you did the bonus stages. But usually you see him in cutscenes on his, final stage, like a spaceship or whatever, or as a hologram in the warp room or in a level transition. This is him showing up in what I'm pretty sure is just a standard level. So we'll get back to that. Again, put a pin in this. That's 3 pins. I'm sorry you gotta have so many pins. Here we have, like, sliding along purple whiz fizz or whatever through dimensions. This reminds me a lot of the Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart trailer. Had this similar kind of set piece. The grinding along rails is a very Ratchet and Clank thing. I'm sure it's very much a coincidence, given how long games take to develop, that these two kind of old PlayStation mascots have a similar thing going on at the same time. But it's cool. Title drop. This looks like a level. This is what I assume is Insanity Beach, based on surfboards, sand. I just find this shot to be a little weird, and I wanted to share it with you. Again, sliding. Here we have the return of the jet board from Crash 2. Kind of very much in the similar capacity of how it was in Crash 2. We've also got this theme of like a town built over a river, which seems pretty rad. Again, more of it. These look like platforms you could walk along, but I guess they're just set dressing at this time because you're stuck to the board unless you're allowed to get off it, which would be not just ripping off Crash 2's jet board, but in addition to Crash 2's jet board. We have the new design for the Nitro crates, which I don't care much for. I don't like just the singular N, I like just the word Nitro across it. It's more iconic, I guess. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm still not going to be rubbing my face into them. Introduction of one of the 4 new masks. The masks, from my understanding, are referred to as the quantum masks. Each of them have special quantum powers, and this guy controls gravity. So, when you're wearing the mask, you've got this suit on. You've got the mask on your back here, and we'll get a better shot of that later. And your face is completely unoccupied, which is I don't think I need to say this, but that's not how you wear a mask. Like, it's covering everything but where a mask should be covering. We've also got, I should mention, new theme, looks like a alien spaceship or a space station or something similar, which is cool. We'll get back to that later. There's the mask on the back. There's the another new mask, second new mask. This one controls time, basically by slowing it down by about 2 seconds. I'm pretty sure is the time limit on the time slow power. Get a slightly better shot of... There we go, there's the outfit. Again, not wearing it on the face, wearing it on the back. No, everywhere else. That's not wearing a mask, Crash. So there's slow down. But before we do that, there's just something else I want to... Here, this configuration of crates. This is interesting to me because of what it implies. Based on its position in the level, there's probably a lot more level going forward. meaning you probably won't be expected to hit the nitro trigger and come back to smash this crate. This crate can only be smashed by doing a body slam, traditionally Crash 2 and 3, and Wrath of Cortex. So, either this confirms the Super Body Slam, which allows you to break these sorts of crates without body slamming directly on them, or the Super Slide from, I believe the Super Slide comes from Entranced, the second Game Boy Advanced Crash game, which could also break these crates. Or these crates can now be broken by explosives, or finally, this is the idea that I think is the least likely out of all of them. You're meant to use an Akubaku mask to damage yourself on that crate and then break it. It's not entirely out of the realm of possibility, but it's not something that has ever been done before in a mainline Crash game. I'm pretty sure it's been done a few times in a few of the mods, but I'm not opposed to that idea. I like that idea of having to really plan out your box breaking run to get the gem at the end, but I don't think it's likely to be what's happening. Anyway, there's the time slow. It lasts about 2 seconds. Here's we have the new future theme. And Crash 3 did have a future theme, but it was all tall skyscrapers and neon, a bit grim. This seems to be, I suppose you'd refer to it as an optimistic future setting. Or at the very least, it's a bit nicer on the eyes than the warped future setting. We have a Japanese or Chinese inspired mystical setting, which isn't new to the franchise again, but it's nice. You can do a lot with this sort of setting. Here we have a carnival in a city sort of setting, which is pretty damn new for the franchise. We don't really have a lot of city level types. We have these jugglers on unicycles. We have what looks like a carnival skull character who might be a new character, or that could just be set decoration, we don't know. We have the introduction of a new crate type, which is the Golden Wumpa Fruit crate, which we'll see in action in the gameplay demo. But basically, when you break that open, a Golden Wumpa Fruit comes out. If you collect the Golden Wumpa Fruit, you gain a whole bunch of Wumpa Fruit. It's not super game-changing, but it's a nice little fun diversion for people who care about collecting a lot of Wumpa Fruit. Here we have what looks like an underwater stage. But as you can see by the way these boxes are stacked, it'd have to be in 3D, meaning all of the previous water stages in Crash games have been 2D side-scrolling, because swimming 3D would suck. Even more than the 2D swimming that we already have in the Crash games. But I'm pretty sure this is just going to be a standard-ish platforming level, because these turtles have platforms on the backs, and why would they have these platforms on their backs if this wasn't going to be a standard platforming stage? I'm not saying that it's going to be a completely standard platforming stage. I'd wager that being underwater would give you slight movement changes and maybe a slight swimming ability, but not a complete swimming stage. It'll be interesting to find out what it actually is going on there. D-Rex, again, taken from Warped. This appears to be a chase level. Again, just taking it from Warped. Different looking place. Instead of the kind of swampy area, this is a very volcanic area, so very vibrant, very cool. Here we have a good close-up of the new design of Crash. It's a very classic Crash, kind of moved into a modern engine. There's nothing to really complain about here. his lips look a little green, but I'm pretty sure that's just a lighting thing. Again, Cortex, but I think I can... Or is that not the shot? Anyway, if I can just have this slowed down, we get the very few seconds of Cortex gameplay. So Cortex shoots a blast, kills this bird, creates a platform. He gets more of a fruit from killing the bird. Does this again, but shoots the platform. It changes color and bounces him up. He also doesn't move in a standard jumping arc. When he has a dash forward, which is very interesting, if you ask me. Here we go. This is a very precise frame, and I knew it was in this trailer at some point, and I just wanted to find it. This little white bit here, this little white bit here looks like clipping. I don't think this is intentional. It's only here for like a frame or two. I just wanted to bring people's attention to it. Anyway, let's go back to standard speed and see the Cortex section at normal speed. Because it's a second or two. Very quick. Barely find anything about it. But Cortex is a playable character here. He's got his own levels and stuff going on, so that's going to be very interesting. Here we have the new design of Coco. Again, it is very much like a standard Coco's original-ish designs brought into a new engine. There's nothing much to complain about. She's looking nice. And she's playing in the future area. If we back up just a slight bit, we can see that the Argo sign is here. We've got a CTR sign for Crash Team Racing. We've got these, I think these guys are enemies carrying around boxes, which will make collecting the gem here a little bit more interesting. But Coco does look like she just plays just like Crash. So she doesn't have her own moves or abilities or mechanics by the looks of things. Actually, hang on. Let's get a good shot of engine. Again, brought into a new graphics engine. He doesn't look too different to kind of his original portrayal. Cool mech. And this is the boss fight, which is different for engine boss fights, where usually you shoot him or you throw fruit at him until his mech blows up. But now this is a platforming-based challenge, which is better as a boss fight for a platformer than just, here's a gimmick for a bit, which is cool. It's testing your platforming skills in a, higher stakes environment. Now, this area looks like the scrapyard theme from earlier. We've got the show lights. And I want to remind you of this, that this boss fight appears to be in a level theme. But it'd have to be at the end of the level theme. And I'm going to talk about a theory I've got at length at the end of this whole both videos thing, because I've got more evidence as we come along, but just, update the previous pin and we'll move on. Crash is taking a selfie with a phone. This is interesting because it appears to be in the middle of the boss fight. Is this a cutscene at the beginning, at the end, in between phases? He's a mute. He doesn't really call anyone now, does he? I suppose he can text, but I never really got the impression that Crash was literate. Does he just take selfies and other pictures, play games on it? Who gave him a phone? Who trusted this destructive idiot with something as fragile as a phone? I assume Coco, but I don't know. We'll find out later. Maybe. This could just be something that's never brought up, ever. There's gonna be fan theories and stuff about it. Mark my words. got a sliding segment, but you also see that we've got the time mask thing on, and you get a very brief frame or two of the power in use, as you can see by the border around, which more or less confirms that they'll be used not just by themselves in platforming sections, but they'll be used in a variety of places. Here's the spaceship theme, and again we've got I believe this is going to be a level-specific gimmick, or a theme-specific gimmick rather. We also see this rift opening up, which grants the mask ability, which is going to be how you know when a mask section starts and ends. And we'll see that more in the gameplay demo. We have this cave with bluish stuff and mystical platforms appearing. We have an ice theme, which is also pirate themed, which is cool. We have a tropical town, which is probably the jetboard area theme, but you know, you get to do other things than just jetboarding. This big guy is glowing and is kind of spectral, just like the thing back here. This is the third new mask out of the. I believe this one is also a quantum mask. I mean, it makes sense. He's blue and glowy, just like the thing, and spectral-ish, and oh look, bones and skulls and stuff. I'm thinking this, not yet confirmed. I'm thinking this is the Mask of Souls or Death or something. And this is a chase level. This might be a boss fight. Maybe you're fighting this guy and you're doing it through a chase level, but why is there a crate if this is a boss fight? Because that implies being able to get a box gem. Either boss fights will have more things in them, as in you can get gems or maybe even time relics or something, or this isn't a boss fight, but this is a level with an important story beat in it. Yeah? Yeah? Put a pin into that idea, that levels will have important story beats in it, because we'll come back to that at the end. Release date, title drop, some good shit.
How many times have you beaten this clown anyway? 3. Really? Only 3? Funny. Seemed like more.
So people have been using that exchange to say that this is starting its own continuity, and all other Crash games after 3 and this one are no longer canon. I'm not entirely sure I buy into that. I'm not saying it's definitely not that. It could also be referencing the fact that this is slotting in as in the game timeline immediately after 3, but all the other games will still go on. And this is just referencing the fact that there is other Crash games already out there that take place later on in the timeline. But again, can't confirm either way on that. And finally, if you buy digitally, you get the totally tubeless skins. I'm not the one for really changing skins in a lot of games, but this kind of confirms that if they've got at least these types of skins, they've probably got a few other skins planned, either as DLC or promotional things like buy at so-and-so store, get this sort of skin. Maybe when you do certain achievements, you unlock certain skins. Maybe pay $2 or $5 or whatever, get the so-and-so skin. That's a bit pessimistic. I prefer if they're all kind of earnable in-game, but the fact that this is buy digitally and get these skins. It doesn't say get the exclusive totally tubular skins. It just says get the totally tubular skins, which means that you might be able to get them in some other way. I don't know. I like Coco's skin. It's alright. It's cute. Don't like Crash's skin, and even if I did get both of them, I probably wouldn't be using them. A few tidying up details of this trailer before we move on to the other one. The gameplay demo, that is. I'm pretty sure it's Lex Lang who's voicing Cortex, just based on his voice. And the song that was playing in the background, Funk Soul Brother, came out in the same year as Crash 3, which I'm pretty sure is the only reason they chose that song. Alright, let's switch over to the gameplay demo. And yeah, I did stretch out a minute 30 trailer into 25 minutes. The gameplay demo is longer than that. So, like I said, weirdly in depth. Buckle up. Okay. So, starting off, we got the title card, we've got B-roll provided by Activision Publishing Incorporated, and some legalese underneath. This isn't surprising. It is, however, confirming that this is more or less what to expect from the finished product. This isn't alpha footage, this isn't beta footage, this isn't having a, hey, this is subject to change, this is what we're going to be expecting from the final game, which isn't too surprising. There's less than 100 days until release. So we do have to expect these gameplay mechanics and things throughout the final release. Here we have the snow theme from earlier. And I want to immediately point out a few interesting things about what's going on here. We have these red outline blocks and a red tria metal box. And traditionally, the outline blocks in Crash games have a white outline, not red, and usually the trigger rates have a yellow exclamation mark. And you can't really tell what would trigger what. So this would, like, if you'd hit one and there's a bunch of outline blocks, it mightn't trigger all of them. Heck, it mightn't even trigger an outline block, depending on which game you're playing. I think what is happening here is these are color-coded. So this will trigger all of the red outline blocks. And there could be a yellow or a green one, which will trigger the yellow or green outline boxes. There's no way of confirming that, but this is something that has been done in some Crash mods. And it'll be interesting to see whether or not this is just a stylistic change or if it is a mechanical change. Because if it is a mechanical change, there could be some puzzles and stuff involved in that. I think that could be really cool. We have a Cold Crash. We have the bonus stage platform there, and he looks like he's coming off of it, meaning I don't think I really need to say this, but bonus stages are confirmed. What a shock. We have a double jump right there, which confirms the existence of a double jump. It does not, however, confirm the ability to gain a double jump power-up. We might have this from the get-go. Or we might get it from beating a boss. There's no way to confirm either way. But double jumps confirmed. Gold fruit crate up there, and we have a in-level cutscene. You can see by the black bars at the top and bottom, control has been taken away from the player. We have this above Crash's head, which I don't think is really good. It looks kind of tacky. Like, it moves around directly above. It doesn't look good. And, like, Crash is already emoting and things are blowing up. Are you really going to be paying attention to this? Do we really need this? Incidentally, I really hope that this only happens, like, once per playthrough. I mean, whenever there's a level cutscene, it only happens once per playthrough. So when I'm replaying the level for gems or secrets or time trials, I don't have to sit through these cutscenes every single time. That'd be really annoying. here we have the mask showing up, and that fade to black was a change of character. We now got Coco. Now, because the fruit is still in the air, this means it could be a cut where they did the same inputs with a different character and they just spliced the footage. Or, and I think this is the less likely of the two, there will be a designated button to switch between Crash and Coco, which seems silly. Maybe that fade to black was entering the pause menu, and there's an option there to switch between Crash and Coco, which seems a bit more likely. I don't know why they would hide the pause. Actually, no, wait, I do think I know why they'd hide the pause menu. Because the pause menu in Crash games generally have a display of how many gems, how many crystals have been collected, and that would give us information on approximately how many levels there are. And I can see why they would want to hide that information. At least for now. So we now have Coco dressed up as a time lady. And again, here we have the time mechanic, and it looks like 2 seconds of time slow. About 2 seconds. Just quickly, I want to bring up this configuration of crates, these penguins, this configuration of crates, that crate over there, and these ice floats. Put a pin on it. Yes, I'm gonna keep telling you to put pins in things. Checkpoint crate has a new design. It's got checkerboards in the things, and I think that's really cool. It also gives a whole bunch of fruit when you break it, which is nice, I guess. And here we cut to either a different point in the level or a different level in the same theme. Can't confirm either way. Crash has the time mask. I like this configuration of crates. It's a little tricky for new players, but it's I don't know, it's nice. I'm fond of these slightly tricky crate configurations. And there you see the time mask left Crash. If we rewind a little bit, there doesn't seem to be any indication that the time mask is gonna disappear here. It's just out of there, which I know is a little disappointing. I would expect some sort of indication. Here we go. Remember that pin I told you to put in, just like very briefly? This configuration of crate, these plank pins, these crates, that crate, ice floats. We're back in the original segment. I don't know why there was a gap. There could have been a cutscene in between here and the earlier segment, or they could just be messing around. We also have another red exclamation crate and red outline crates. And here we have the classic Crash death animation. Here we have the spaceship theme. We're playing as Coco. We have these enemies. I'm gonna get a good glimpse of them a little bit later. We have the gravity suit immediately. Here we have what I'm gonna call confirmation of an unfortunate mechanic that is present in a lot of Crash games, which is RNG nitro jumping. Nitro crates shake, shimmy, and hop a little bit, just as kind of passive, and that's not a issue, but sometimes they will hop up significantly. And if I were to be jumping over nitro crates and then they suddenly jump up, I die or take damage if I've got a mask. And that sort of thing is completely out of my control, and that's a pretty poor mechanic to be in a game like this. And I'm very disappointed to see that it's returned, unless they've got some sort of safeguard that they'll only do these sorts of big hops when the player is far away from them, which I'm not sure they will do. This is kind of disappointing. Here we have a decent look at of the alien enemies on these alien spaceship / space station levels. Despite the size, despite the coloration, this looks like an Moxian? Gas Moxian? The species of alien that nitrous oxide is by head shape, face location, these puffer things here, and I believe that's the correct number of legs. It's hard to see, but it looks like, you know, they're confirmed as a, you know, local presence. We've got the wall running mechanic, we've got more gravity manipulation. I don't know how these crates have gravity manipulation, but here we are. Here we have what looks like, we don't get a good look at it because it's always kind of, it's rotating in a bad angle and moving forward at the same time. We don't really get a look at it, but this looks like the time trial start clock, which confirms time relics. That's not a surprising thing to confirm, but it's good to know it's in there. Here we have the first showing of what happens when you break a golden wumpa fruit crate. A golden wumpa fruit comes out. I'm pretty sure it goes along a set path, but when Crash collects it, a whole bunch of fruit. Here we have the scrapyard theme. You know, get to see some hazards, some enemies, nothing too special or wacky just yet. Here we have a lower part, an internal part maybe. And here we have rope swinging, which is new to Crash. Looks a bit slower. I think I prefer moving platforms. Call me old-fashioned, but I prefer the old moving platform. Here we have changed to Coco. Confirm of the body slam, which is not, you know, surprising. We've already got the reinforced crates to prove that. This guy dies. He doesn't look like much of an enemy, but that doesn't mean he's not an enemy. But what's really interesting here is this crate here, this glowing O crate. I don't know what it does. There's a whole bunch of fruit in it, but like that's not what makes a crate special, right? Because we had the question mark crate on top of it, which also gives a whole bunch of fruit. So what is the special significance of this glowing O crate? I don't know. I don't have any information on it. It's just a ton of. It's not just a ton of fruit, is it? That'd be disappointing. So there we get a quick voice clip over megaphones. I believe that's Engine, based on the theme and what it's saying. And that's really good news. Attendance to tonight's performance is free. You don't get that a lot with bosses. Here we have what looks like the purple gem route marker. I don't think this is showing that Crash has the purple gem and then can go on this route, because it looks, you know, a little wobbly, a little non-physical. It doesn't exactly look like inviting me to jump on it, but who knows? Usually, a gem route that is signified by not having the gem is an outline of the gem platform. And this could be just the stylized gem bit. It could very well be the platform itself. We get a bit more focus of look. You can kind of see it is not like a mirage or shimmering or whatever. It is kind of just a solid-ish thing. It just doesn't, to me, it doesn't look like a solid platform. It looks too translucent, too perhaps ethereal might be the right word. But it might be a proper platform that we can hop on. It's hard to tell. But it does confirm that gem routes are back in the game, which isn't super incredible. So this is going to be hard to see, but if you look at this platform over here, the edge here has this yellow and black tape along with these edges. And down here, right down at the bottom here, you can see the yellow and black edge. Let's see if I can't get a slightly... No, you can't really get much of it. It's very brief, very small in the bottom corner. But like right here, down here is what looks like the edge of a platform. I'm thinking this confirms secret platforms. In that, like, you can hop over there and it'll either be a split path. This could be the end of a split path, or the start of it. It could be just a bunch of Wumpa fruit and maybe an extra life or a mask or something as a little bonus for finding a secret. These sorts of things aren't unusual for the Crash franchise. I'm not sure if we were meant to see that at all, though, because it's very brief, very, very small on the screen. And here we have jumping on the rail in level, going under the rail in level, all very nice to see some of the mechanics further introduced. Here's the guy that we had earlier, and we have what looks to be a very low part of the scrapyard theme. And we have the classic death animation. So, let me talk about a theory that I've got and bring a lot of those pins back into play. I think, since we have what looks like a whole bunch of story important cutscenes in levels, that we're not going to have a warp room style level select. So instead of being able to pick whichever levels you want to do in whatever order at 5 at a time, we'll have more of a Crash 1 map, and these levels will feed into each other in a more story-driven way. One of the main reasons is this lower area of the scrapyard looks like probably where you'd first arrive into this section of the map. You know, you're not in it quite yet. You're into the introductory parts, and then you climb up into this area and this area higher up. And these junkyard levels will probably terminate in the engine boss fight because of the, decorations around the place. The how the boss fight looks, these decorations, the same decorations we saw in the trailer in the scrapyard section where we had that dude and he was in front of a big building. I'm thinking the level ends there after you beat that dude, go into the building, and the next level is a boss fight with the engine. I don't know for certain, obviously, but it feels like it could be correct. Also, like, we had that big mountain with souls coming out of it, and that's outside bit is a level. We also have a solely glowy cavern area, and then we have the chase sequence, and those could be a set of 3 levels. And you have to play them in that order, otherwise it just doesn't make sense. So I'm thinking maybe either we don't have a warp room, we're doing a more traditional map, or some levels in a warp room must be completed in a certain order. Who knows? I certainly don't. I'm speculating. But like I like to think that I have a good grasp on what's going on. I did, after all, spend 44 minutes talking about 4.5 minutes of footage, which is, a fair bit. If you've noticed anything in these videos that I haven't brought up that you think is interesting enough to bring up, please do in the comments. If you have any responses or conjectures about what I've said, like, hey, that's dumb, here's why it should be this instead, by all means tell me. If you have any criticism on how bad this video is, I don't need to tell you to tell me. You're probably already typing 44 minutes and 0 editing. How dare you waste my time? In either case, no matter what you type in the comments, even if you don't type anything in the comments, I'd like to thank you for making it through this incredibly self-indulgent video. I hope to see you watching some of my future videos, or maybe watch my stream. You know, maybe? It doesn't really matter. Thank you for watching anyway. I hope you have an excellent day.